Hey, it's Cadillac in time. So, if you watch my previous videos, I really haven't done much with the 59 this year just due to, well, same thing that's you knowing all of your lives right now. But anyway, I did get it back from the shop, fixed that transmission leak. It was just some clamps and tubes and things. Says I do have a few drops coming out of the bell housing, but it's pretty remote. I haven't seen any accumulating under the car since I got it back. And I would have to rebuild the old Hydromatic to take care of those, and frankly, transmission's working great. I can stand a few drops of transmission fluid. But anyway, it's dirty as heck right now. It's already too late here in Indiana to have your hoses hooked up because they will freeze up to the house. But anyway, headed out today just doing kind of little bits of maintenance type things. Vacuumed out, actually my 7-year-old vacuumed out the interior for me a little bit. One of the things I've been dealing with was these sun visors will keep falling down on me just of their own accord. They would just drop like that. And these are just kept up by tension, these little screws here. So anyway, I got them out of there. It looks like they were, so this one, they're very particular screws with a head on them. So I don't think it's the sort of thing you could go to a hardware store and get an exact match. And they weren't stripped or anything, so I just took them out and reversed them, that side for this side, and also they were in backwards. There was this one here, you can see that actually has a little seat for the head of the thick head of that screw in there, and so one was in backwards. So I'm hoping by doing that little bit, it will take care of, because you'd be driving along and just sun visor would drop in your eyes, and trying to fix that as you were driving was not fun. Other thing I did here is I got me one of those aftermarket rear view mirrors. Mine was just very old and hazy and hard to even see through. And it's not really an exact match. You can see it's like a little day and that day and night flipper thing there. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, whatever. But it looks pretty good. I'm going to hang on to the old one just because I don't want to get rid of it. This is like a metal and plastic combination, whereas the old one is all metal. So, I mean, it looks nice. It looks period-ish, even if it doesn't necessarily look exactly spot on. One thing I wanted to do is I also wanted to see if I could replace this bracket, or I would call it an arm, but when I looked online, they called it a bracket, because you can see mine is kind of pitted, not awful, but that's the sort of thing you would have to have that. I mean, I could take it off of there, it's just screws, but that's just like putting a SOS pad or something. Really wouldn't take out those pits and probably would just scratch it up some more. So, and I looked, so they sell one, a reproduction one for the Cadillac of 59 as a convertible, but not the coupe or the sedan. And I looked like on eBay, and a few people were selling them, but theirs were just as bad or worse than mine. And it doesn't look terrible, so yeah, I'm just going to slap that repop on there and let it ride. A few of the things I did was just, cleaning things up, getting some screws. I had that piece of where the vent is, the screws had popped out, so the whole thing was falling down, so I got that all buttoned up. Yeah, things like that. Oh, and the last thing I did is, you may have seen when I got in, is I got me one of these it's not a reproduction because these were never part of the Cadillac, but an aftermarket, people call them hump hugger. In this case, this goes on a flat bench seat, so it's not a hump hugger. I'll say that 10 times fast. Anyway, it's okay. The color options were aqua for this one, because I do have the aqua interior. It's funny, when I first got it, I thought it was blue, and then I thought it was green, and it's kind of a blue-green, really. I forget the exact name it has. It's like Tucson something or other, I forget, but whatever. So I wouldn't exactly call that aqua. I would call that more light blue. But, you know, it kind of fits into the overall scheme. So it's funny. So I'm looking through my phone at this, and that seat looks really blue, but to the naked eye, it looks more green. And there's that. It's okay. I mean, I like it. You know, these aren't horribly expensive. It's nice and heavy, which I like. There really isn't a way to tie it down. It comes with a thing underneath, which is you would put it actually all the way underneath the seat, and then back over here inside it has this, so you would put it all the way through around the seat and underneath and tie it off to keep it from moving. Well, you can't do that here with the Caddy. This does not go through. The only holes here in the back of the seat are for the seat belts. There's no holes under here for that line to come through and tie off. Not to mention, it's really weird to me. Why did they attach the line here on the inside instead of underneath? There's no hole back here for it to come out. So even if you were going to do that, you would have to put it up and over like that, so that when you closed it, it would look like, I guess if that was sitting against the back of the seat, you wouldn't really see it, but that doesn't seem like very good engineering to me. But as I said, there really isn't a way for me to do that, so that's just gonna stay in there like that. Or I don't know, I guess if I keep this long term, I might just cut that off, because it's not going to serve any purpose other than to get in the way. And the length really isn't right. I mean, so ideally here you can see it's got that bit of a bend. So ideally that part would sit flat like that, and that part that goes down would go over the front there, but then that leaves me a strange looking gap back here. So besides, to my mind, I would rather have it like that, have a nice armrest, nice cup holders. I don't know. Overall, it's okay. I think that was $135. That's about what those go for. It is a solid, nice, heavy piece, not cheaply constructed, I can tell. It also seems like it was not specifically designed for a '59 Cadillac. It was just something, even though I got it out of an old Cadillac parts website. It's just the sort of thing like you would have it for lots of different kinds of classic cars. Yeah, whatever. It's okay. I mean, it's the idea of this, so it's not going to be tacked down there. So I guess the idea is that it's just going to kind of stay there, and my arm on it will probably keep it down. But hey, while we're in here, let's go for a quick spin. So the shop really wasn't able to do anything with the carb issue. You can probably hear it's still running really rough, and in fact, when it's cold like this now, about 39 degrees, kind of kept to keep it goosed while the choke is on, otherwise it seems to want to conk out. So yeah, they didn't really do anything. I think he said they just sprayed some carb cleaner and basically said that saw that there were no vacuum leaks, and that was it. So I think there's obviously some other issue going on with the carb or intake. I don't know if you can hear it on the audio from this phone, but you can actually hear like a whistling or a whine when you first start the car up cold. So there's something going on with the carb intake, because that obviously indicates that something is wrong. And you probably guessed if you watched any of my other videos that I am not a mechanic. I am not anyone who can really do any other work on these cars other than just the very, very basic DIY stuff as you see. So if you have an idea what that sound could be, let me know. Getting towards the end of fall here in Indiana. Leaves are just about all down, and we're into that less of that fires of fall phase and more of the getting into depressing bare trees and winter's just around the corner kind of thing to do. Which, yeah, it's that time of year. When I moved to Indiana 15 years ago, I knew about the cold because I lived up north. I lived in New York City and near Cleveland and Washington, D.C. So I knew what northern weather was like. In Chicago, I lived in Chicago. But boy, it's tough to go through 4 or 5, even 6 months of solid cold weather in winter. Not to mention which it's hard to don't get a lot of opportunities to drive your classic cars just because all that salt and slush on the ground, you really don't want to take them out. We'll usually get like a little break, maybe like in early January, late December, sometimes even early February, where we'll get like a spot of warm days. I remember the year that we had Indianapolis hosted the Super Bowl. I'm trying to remember, was that 2012, somewhere in there? And it went very well, and we got a lot of compliments for how the city did. The thing was, we had this freakish bout, an entire week of warm weather in late January, early February. Well, that's kind of pretty still. Like literally 70 degrees in Indianapolis the first week of February of that Super Bowl, which is insane. And of course, the joke going around town was, if anybody asks you if it's always like this in February, you tell them yes. When no, usually February in Indiana is pretty miserable. Anyway, so that's my update on the Cadillac. Like I say, not a whole lot happening with the car this year, which is probably why you haven't seen as many videos, other than just sort of my riding around musing videos, because I don't have a lot of news about the car to share. But so I think next on the car is I'm going to take it to the alignment shop, the place that is good at doing old car alignments, and get this front end checked out. I can't remember if I've mentioned on this playlist before that I took the Cadillac into just a regular tire shop about, well, I guess now it would have been late last year or something like that, or maybe I think it was early this year, maybe like right before pandemic hit. And just because it pulls to the right a little bit, and just said like, hey, can you do an alignment? And they said, oh, we can't do an alignment because you need all these things, basically a whole new front end from what I could tell. And I don't think that's right. I think they're either selling me a bill of goods or they just don't know what they're doing. But I'm sure, probably not everything that they said needs to be done, but I'm sure some of it, like they talked about, there's a lot of worn bushings, which I'm sure there are. So I'm going to take it to the good alignment place that works on old cars, I think maybe even next week, see if they can get the front end sorted out. Next on my list, got to have that carb checked out, see what's going on with that. I'm hoping that's just a fairly easy issue, but because I've had that carb rebuilt twice already. And then probably the next thing is brakes. I think I've mentioned before for my Brakes of Palooza entry from a while back that the brakes went on this car, and I've had the brake booster rebuilt twice, and obviously wrong each time because there's still not a whole lot of assist. There's not a lot of power assist with the brakes. It basically is driving like manual brakes, which is okay. But I've had a few times, where I do take this car on the highway and stuff, where I'm going to stop, and you just feeling that 5,000 pounds of rolling Detroit steel, and really feel like you want to have a little buddy, little hydraulic buddy to help you out stopping the car. So I'd like to have that done. I've talked about getting one of those dual reserve brake systems, which I might do. I'm not one of these purists who wants to always keep the car 100% stock, but if I can keep it that, just mainly because I don't want to pay like $1,500 to have a entirely new modern brake system put in. I'm still trying to save up money to get the paint and body done on this car, so who knows. But anyway, so making progress ever so slowly, not worrying about a timeline anymore, just driving the car, enjoying it, and trying to do the best I can. I hope you all are doing the same.